the meltdown continues in the world of the Zionists. So they cannot lose control of the narrative, right? Because if they lose control of the narrative over the Israel-Gaza, they will never be able to deploy another army in the Western world ever. And that's coming from the head of Palantir, which I'm going to show you in a second. But here is Jordan Peterson. He's back to try to rescue the Israeli narrative and shame Joe Rogan. So the same people who screamed about, you remember when people like Don Lemon and Andrew Cuomo would say, we got to have guardrails on podcasts. Now he's here to tell you the same thing because people are telling you the truth about Israel. And he gets paid by the Daily Wire. He gets, which, Kurt, correct me if I'm wrong, that money, how much money did he get?
What I heard was 60 million.
That you heard he got 60 million.
Yeah, and that's why he's dressed like a tailor, because he's going to try to sew up the narrative that's been tearing.
Anyone dressed like a movie theater usher in his Dayglow blazer is a pretender. But anyway, so listen to what he said to Joe Rogan. He says all the things that they complained about establishment media, corporate media saying about Joe Rogan, he's now going to do. But he does it in a lot of words, uses a lot of words. Watch this. And so Douglas Murray was the bad cop, and now Jordan Peterson is the nice cop. He's going to try and butter Joe up, but try to get him to put guardrails. Watch.
You also set that conversation up, but it poked up and made itself manifest in that conversation. And the issue is, how do you identify the psychopathic pretenders? And it's even worse now.
How do I identify the psychopathic pretenders in this argument? The people who justify slaughtering children for land. To me, those are the psychopaths. Anybody who justifies a genocide in Gaza has a bit of psychopathology in them.
I like he has guardrails on his lapels for this interview.
So here we go.
You also set that conversation up, but it poked up and made itself manifest in that conversation. And the issue is, how do you identify the psychopathic pretenders? And it's even worse now, and then make a barrier, right? Now, the right was calling for the left to do that for decades, and they didn't, and they couldn't. And the left is not good at drawing barriers, partly temperamentally. The right is somewhat better, but there's no shortage of monstrosity there. And so then the question is, how do you draw the line? And that's kind of what I was, because I've been watching these right-wing, they're not right-wing, these psychopathic types manipulate the edge of the conservative movement for their own gain. And a lot of that's cloaked in anti-Semitic guys. There's plenty of...
Oh, so anybody who disagrees with the Israel narrative is a psychopath cloaking it in anti-Semitic garb. I mean, come on.
What's the gain? What's my gain?
What? Right. What is my gain?
I don't get guitar money.
Right. I don't get, nobody gets paid from guitar. Dave Smith doesn't get money. I don't get money. Joe Rogan doesn't get money for going against Israel, which is the worst.
It creates problems. It makes things awkward. That's what it does for me.
It makes things awkward. It makes, just like me telling the truth about it. The money is in the establishment narrative. Right now, the money is, I mean, according to Kurt, he got $60 million from the Daily Wire, which that's got to be Israeli money.
How should anyone decide what guardrails to put up? Like, what do you...
So, Joe, you're letting people come on and tell the truth about Israel. We've got to stop. They're psychopaths, they're anti-Semites, and they're on the right even. So you got to put guardrails up. You got to stop this, Joe. This is real. Like, he's really doing. He's like, how do you got to get some guardrails there. You got to get some guardrails, which is exactly what Don Lemon used to say on CNN.
Do you have a conceptual system worked out for that? Like, because
what in the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Do I have a conceptual? How do I do? Joe, you've got to have this is the old. You've got to have standards. You got to have guardrails. You got to censor. You can't let anybody. You can't just have free flowing conversations on your show, Joe. And he loved it up until someone started telling the truth about what's happening in Israel, Gaza. And someone started telling the truth about Israel and how every war we've ever fought in the Middle East is at the behest of Israel. Iraq was because of Israel. Libya, Israel. Syria, the whole thing. Now they want us to go into Iran, and they really got to get us into Iran. And that's why they're doing this. This is a full court press that's happening. There's a full court press by the Zionists. We got to get into Iran. We got to do it. We got it because they have the Greater Israel Project.
Yeah, that little bizarre neocon alliance, their two big projects were Ukraine and then the Israel thing. I think that's what the mutual cooperation is about. And now that the pyramid scheme is collapsing, if you recall, what do you have to do when it's collapsing? You have to go to war to get out of it. You know? Hey, we lost $2 trillion. We got to go to war. Hey, the Great Depression, we got to... FDR's thing didn't work. We got to go to war. It's always the solution when the bottom drops out of the pyramid scheme.